Hi, everybody. Welcome back to week 3 of the Boston Marathon training series. We made it through January. Exciting times. So, happy February 1st. We made it. So, it's still very cold here in Ohio. We've had a very cold week. Temperatures dipped down quite a bit. And so I was on the treadmill quite a bit for this week. Going back to last Monday, I thought I was going to be able to get back into running Monday morning, but my body was still a little bit worn out. My morning heart rate was still a little elevated, so basically I took Monday off, continued to rest, and get through the cold viral illness that I was dealing with. I actually took off work that day too, just to let my body rest. Sometimes resting is the most important thing, letting your body get back to baseline. And so last week I had talked about watching that heart rate get back to normal or within a few beats, making sure energy levels were back to normal, and a few other things. You can reference that video. But by Tuesday, I was able to start walking on the treadmill. I did just 20 minutes, nice and easy, just to let my body move. And I went back to work that day as well. Throughout the day, I did a couple movement snacks, basically exercises, just spaced throughout the day. I did some weighted marches and then some rowing on the TRX band. And then once I got to Wednesday, I ended up doing a split workout. So a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening. I did a lot of doubling this week and splitting up runs so that I could get my body back to normal running rhythm without overstressing the system. So I did about a 45-minute workout, 4 by 9-minute runs with minute walk break. And then in the evening on Wednesday, I did 3 by 9-minute jogging with 1-minute walk breaks. And those walk breaks, again, are just trying to keep the effort lower overall. So when I got to Thursday, I wanted to do a little bit of some intensity. Nothing much. I did 1-minute intervals on the treadmill where I'd incline the gradient between 4 all the way up till 11%. So 8 by 1 minute hills, basically. And I kept the effort easy to medium. So on an RPE scale, rate of perceived exertion, I was between 4 to 6. And that felt good. That was Thursday. In the evening that night, I actually got outside. It was a comfortable 8 degrees, and I just jogged for about 35 minutes around my neighborhood. So I did that, and then into Friday, I just did one run that day. It was about 40 minutes total, and I went down into the park and then came back up. Now, when we get to the weekend, I was a little unsure how I was going to split this up, but I did, instead of one big long run like I'd been doing, the goal for this weekend, I wanted a half marathon test, something between 10 mile and 13 miles of effort. And so I warmed up outside. This is yesterday. Warmed up outside for about 20 minutes. And then I got on my treadmill to start doing some mile repeats. My goal was to do about 4 to 6 mile repeats with 2 minutes of jogging. And so I started on my treadmill, but it was just too cold in the garage. So I had to, the treadmill slowed down after I got past 8 miles an hour, and it went all the way down to about 3. So that threw a wrench in the plans. So I quickly got in the car, went to the gym, and started walking on the treadmill and continued with my workout. And so I ended up doing 5 by 1 mile at marathon effort, cut it down throughout, started at 6:30 pace, worked down to 6-minute pace. And again, I mentioned the 2-minute jogging. I basically walked, trotted in between the intervals. And that was about 55 minutes worth of work, plus the warm-up, so about 75 minutes. And then today, to finish out the week, I wanted to get the rest of that work in. So I had mentioned getting like a half marathon test. And this workout, I did about a 10-minute warm-up. It was a mix of 5 minutes of walking, 5 minutes of jogging and running. And then I started a 8-mile progressive tempo test. And the goal for this was to start at marathon effort, maybe a little bit less, and then progress down towards half marathon effort by the last couple miles. And so I did that well. I progressed from 6:30 to 6:20s for a couple miles, down to around 6:10 for a couple. The last 2 miles, I ran 6 minutes and then about a 5:50 to finish out the workout. And so by splitting up these 2 runs from yesterday and today, I still got a good amount of work. I didn't overstress my system since I had the sickness last weekend. And overall, use the treadmill to my advantage given the really cold temps and a lot of the snow that's still out there. It doesn't give great conditions. But I want to be able to raise my lactic threshold. Essentially, this is one of the most key parts of distance running. It's the ability to work at a level where you can process the acidity that's being produced in your muscles. The lactic acid is not the problem. It's the hydrogen, essentially, that's produced during that process. But we want to be able to work under that red line during the marathon. And if you're trying to hit a certain time, if you're trying to hit a certain pace, you have to be able to do that for a long time. I mean, upwards of 2.5, 3, 4 hours of running. So you do need to practice these paces in the training. And so with these tests, I'm able to see where's my heart rate at during these efforts. I can see how my body reacts when I start increasing the pace or increasing my effort. A lot of times it's good to start around a 5 to 6 out of 10 when you're talking about RPE for the marathon. And this will give you enough energy to hold the pace for that extended time. If you start off too quick in the marathon, it can be a pretty tough race where you'll find that second half does not go the way you want it. And thinking back to when I first did Boston, this is back in 2017. I brought out this medal here just to show you, so you can see this. Exciting. April 17th, 2017. I don't know if I was just naive at the time or not thinking about the temperature. I was so focused on hitting a 2:40 marathon back then, and I really wanted that time. But the problem was I didn't, at least from what I can remember, I don't think I planned for the hotter temperature. I don't even think I was focused on that. I was so driven that I'm going to go out at 120. I'm going to go for 240, and that's that. I had great training. I look back, and some of these workouts that I posted back then were month after month and week after week were really solid. But when it comes to that weekend of the marathon, you do have to consider, what is the temperature going to be? What is the humidity going to be? And how hilly is the race? So I do vividly remember running around 10 miles into the race, and I felt pressed. I felt like I was pressing the pace. And by 16, 17, even though my pace wasn't falling yet, I knew that the last 10 miles, 8 miles was going to be rough. Not necessarily because of the Newton Hills or anything, but I beat up my quad so much, I didn't fuel enough during that race. There's a few other things I'll talk about throughout this series, but specifically that line, I was pushing past that too soon in the race. And I know that now. I mean, I look back and it makes sense why my last 10K and last 8 miles of that race, I bonked really hard. Lost a lot of fluids, lost a lot of salts, and you're walking, you're jogging, you're trying to just finish the race. I'm glad I finished. I'm happy about that, but these workouts that I'm doing currently are going to help me see like how things are progressing, and they're check-in points. Yeah, like today, this on the treadmill, this was a good assessment of where my heart rate was and how my body's handling the training. I had to adjust a little bit from the sickness last week, but you get right back onto the train, so to speak. I mean, I had a few days off, but looking forward to the next 2 days, I'll be right on track with where I should be in terms of mileage and running per day and workouts. So, some of these winter storms or unexpected slowdowns or speed bumps, they they test us mentally for sure. And I think it can be tough when you have a few days off to feel like getting back into the rhythm is so hard. But I think you just have to take it one run at a time. You start doing the same things you were doing right before you got sick. For me, I like to watch some motivational videos, things that'll kind of get you excited about running again and look forward to the race. I mean, heck, pull up old, like for example, even looking at this medal right here, just thinking about in 11 weeks, I'm going to be towing the line for the Boston Marathon. And so I want to do all that I can to get prepared, but inevitably you're going to have some ups and downs along the way. So just get back to where you were, plug back into your rhythm of the week, and just keep going at it. So hope this helps. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about training. And this was a great week. Back to feeling strong, and I'm excited. So this concludes week 3 of the 14-week build. So I got 11 weeks to go, and I'll check in with you guys next week. Hope all you're well and stay warm out there. All right. Bye.